again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Powell. I'm the Associate Curriculum Partner for Digital Skills within the EAS. There are my contact details. So if you would like to contact me following the session for any further support, or you need any further digital support around that, please use those contact details and you'll be able to get in touch. Just as a sort of start of the session, I don't work for Microsoft, okay, but I am an advocate of Microsoft tools. I've been a Microsoft innovative expert for the last 3 years, and lots of the tools I'll share with you today will be based around the Microsoft platform. Again, these tools that you'll see today are all free. They're all accessible to you through Hub and really good and supportive in the classroom for everybody who's available. So as we go through today's session, if you've been on any EAS training this year, you will have seen this slide. This is all about Simon Breakspear and his salient experiences. Some of what you hear today might be new to you, so it might be something that you want to consider implementing in your classroom to support the learners across the board. You may be familiar with some of the tools, so I might be thinking about going back, sort of having a little bit of a refresher over some of this information and becoming more familiar with it and enhancing the use of it within the classroom. Or you may be experienced with some of this information and you may want to then act as a mentor or a coach to the colleagues in your school. Hopefully you'll fit into one of those categories as we go through. And like I said, if this is new to you, please do feel free to ask questions in the chat or by raising your hand as we go through. So in terms of the whole program, this was the success criteria for the whole program. So there were 7 sort of things that we're going to be focusing on. But today's session is going to be focusing on developing inclusive reading within the classroom. And I'm going to show you some tools that are available to you across a number of platforms that will really support the learners in your class. But before we get on to looking at the tools, we're going to add some sort of background and some context to the session as we go through. If you'd like to share any of your learnings from tonight via social media, you can use then our EAS digital hashtag by there. And you can also use the hashtags equity, access and support. So EAS, a little bit of a play on, and then also Microsoft Edu as well, just to share any of the learning that you've had through tonight's session. Okay, so like I said, throughout tonight's session, we're looking at increasing accessibility and fostering inclusive classrooms, and we're going to be looking specifically at reading tonight. I'd like to just take this opportunity again to thank you all for getting here at the end of what has probably been a busy day and trying to sort of get the class out the door and get to the session. So the fact that you're here is really appreciative, and hopefully tonight you'll be able to take away something that you can use in your classroom easily to support all of your learners. Okay, so inclusive reading. So in today's classrooms, one of the things that we as educators might struggle with is sort of providing differentiated supports for each learner based on their individual needs. As we will know, across the classroom, we'll have a range of needs that we need to support. So having those tools available is really important. When we allow our students to use these tools that they can personalize based on their preferences when reading, we're enabling them to take charge of their own learning. They're getting that independence and that autonomy to be able to act upon any learning that we're asking them to complete. Now, some of the applications that we see might help students with dyslexia. Some might help students with visual impairments. Some might help students who speak a different language. Some might even help students in the general education classroom and so on. So as you can see, the tools that we share tonight are not just going to be for one specific group of learners. This is going to be for all learners within the classroom. The idea is not just to demonstrate and use these tools with students identified as having those additional learning needs. The idea is to enable all of our students to use these tools. So with its core products, Microsoft has included a suite of learning tools to meet the needs of all these diverse student populations within your classroom. Now tonight we're going to be looking specifically at an Immersive Reader, and through Immersive Reader, students listen to text being read aloud, choose how content is presented to them visually, and even use a built-in dictionary for real-time vocabulary support. Now, as we know, reading is the pinnacle of education. There is substantial research to support the fact that if reading skills are not tackled by year 3 or 4, the life outcomes go down significantly. Reading is so critical to our students' educational experience that if a student has difficulty reading, they will have difficulty accessing the curriculum and content areas across the board. So let's dive into some of those tools that boost comprehension, decoding, and independence for all of our students. Now, you might be wondering how it all got started and why are Microsoft talking about things such as dyslexia and dysgraphia? Well, every year, and this is kind of the background around where Immersive Reader was developed, Microsoft has a hackathon. Now, it's 1 week per year that anyone in the company can work on a project that they are passionate about. Now, during this week, you have people coming together across the company to work on a number of different passion projects. This particular project, Immersive Reader, incorporated researchers, accessibility experts, reading PhD experts, and engineers that took the latest research around reading but focused exclusively on dyslexia as a core customer type. So this amazing tool stemmed from one passion project, and now it's built out much more broadly. And the tool, like I said already, is called Immersive Reader. So for those of you who may not know, not only do we have the Word desktop version, but now everyone in Wales has free access to Word through the Hub platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Word Online platform in a second to show you all the possibilities here in regards to tools for students and others. Now, Immersive Reader is a tool not only for students to read their own work, but also for them to be able to access directions, test questions, and so on. This can be a great tool to incorporate independence into their learning by not only having to rely on the teacher to access all content, but they can access that content themselves independently. Now, sometimes a student needs more time with a text to achieve comprehension. Sometimes additional tools might be useful to them as well. Immersive Reader offers tools designed specifically to support students with dyslexia, colour blindness, dysgraphia, and several other needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this presentation. We're going to jump over to Word, which is again available through Hub, and I'm going to talk you through some of the features that are available to you to be able to support all learners within your classroom. Okay, so hopefully now you can all see my screen in front of me. If you can't, please do let me know in the chat. But in front of me now, I have got Microsoft Word Online that is available, again, to everybody through the Hub platform. Okay, so in this example here, I've got a text that I've sort of inputted, all about different Earth landforms and different types of landform across geography. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this text and look at a number of ways in which we can use Immersive Reader to support the learner with reading this text. Now, to do that and to access Immersive Reader, across the ribbons here across the top, you've got the View button. And if you click onto View, you then get a number of other options. You've got the Reading View, but then you have Immersive Reader. And when you click onto Immersive Reader, what will happen is Immersive Reader will open and it will then put the text into a different format for all learners to read. So as you can see now, by opening Immersive Reader, I have now taken that text that was on Word Online and it's come across into this format here. So by scrolling down, I can see all of the different features that are available to me as I go down. Okay, so this is the whole text that was on the page. So just to have a little sort of navigation around Immersive Reader. Okay, across at the bottom then, we've got a play button and we've got a voice settings button, okay? So these are the two features that you might look at first when using Immersive Reader within your classroom. Firstly, if we look at the voice settings, okay, you can see that the voice settings have a number of different speeds. We've got a speed where it reads at sort of turtle pace, and then at the other end, we've got the hare. So play on the story, the turtle and the hare. I can then take this and I can speed up or slow down the speed in which the text is read to the learner. I can also then select two different types of voice. I've got a female voice and I have a male voice. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it on the female voice for now. I'm going to leave it at number 1 speed. And all I need to do then, in order for my learners to be able to access this text, this can be there in front of them in the classroom. If they're not able to read it, they can just press play.
The study of Earth's landforms is called physical geography. Landforms can be mountains and valleys. They can also be glacier or rivers. Landforms are sometimes called physical features. It is important for students.
So you can see by pressing play, it will begin to read the text out to your learners. So this in a way gives access to all learners within your classroom. Not only can they listen to the text, they can also see then that the words are being highlighted as they go through as it's being read. So they can make that recognition between it being read to them and also then what those words are actually saying. Just to show you some of the other tools then, if I jump back onto here, change it to a male voice, we can see then the difference.
Students to know about the physical geography of Earth. The seasons, the atmosphere, and all the natural processes of Earth affect where people are able to live.
So again, that's the male voice. And again, I can slow that down then or speed it up. So if I speed it up to 2.
Live. Geography is one of a combination of factors that people use to decide where they want to live.
Obviously now that's not as clear. So we would be then playing around to make sure that it's being read at a pace that is suitable for the learners. So instantly, the learners now can listen to any text that's been given to them. So whether they can read or not, every child in your classroom will have access to a text that you've given them. Now, if I want to then listen to individual words as I go through, I can click on to a word that I'm not sure about. And what I can do then is I can press the listen button.
Geography.
So what will happen then is the immersive reader will read out individual words to the learner as they're going through. So they might want to they could read some of these words, they might want to practice it, but then when they get to a word they're not sure of, they click on that word and they can listen to that word to help them with their pronunciation. So a really, really cool feature. What you'll also notice then is that at the moment, when I'm clicking on specific words, there's a picture appearing underneath that word. So what's happening here is the children or learners are able to make the relationship between the word that's being read and an image. So there's that dual coding ability in terms of their long-term memory. They'll be able to relate that word to an image that they've seen. And that is called the picture dictionary. Now to turn that on and off, you can do that in the features across the top here. So you've got text preferences, you've got grammar options, and then you've got reading preferences on the end. If we go into reading preferences, you can see here there's a picture dictionary toggle, so I can turn that off and on. So if it's off, when I click on it, it will just show me the words. But then in order to, again, turn that back on, I can click onto a word and it will make the relationship then between the picture and the word for me. Now, not every word will have a picture, and not every picture will relate exactly to what the word is saying. So for example, if I click on is here, you can see that it's not particularly clear what those pictures are showing. So you'll have to be quite selective about the words that you use in terms of the picture dictionary. So let's jump back into the reading preferences as well then, because we've got a number of reading preferences here that can be used. We can turn on line focused. Okay, so if you want a learner to focus on lines as they're going through the text, so their working memory isn't full with seeing all of the text on the page, when you turn on line focus, this time now when it reads, what you can see then is that only the line that's being read is being focused on. So it narrows the concentration gap onto one specific area of the work that they're completing. So again, if I press play,
It is important for students to know about the physical geography of Earth. The seasons, the atmosphere, and all the natural processes of Earth affect where people are able to live.
So you can see then that one line focus really narrows the focus of the reading down onto that specific line, and the rest of the words then don't confuse the learner on the page. That line focus then can be changed from 1 line to 3 lines, okay? And it can also be changed to 5 lines of text as you're going through. So depending on what you want to use, you can turn that on and off depending on the features that you need. One of the other incredible features within Immersive Reader is the ability then to translate this text from English into a number of different languages. So again, in the reading preferences option, we have the translate button here, and we've got a drop down then with a number of different languages that we may want to use. So for example, if I scroll all the way down, we have Welsh right here. So if I click onto Welsh, what will then happen is that should then translate the text from English into Welsh. Now I can do this by word. Okay, so if I have it on by word option, it will then give me the Welsh word underneath. Or if I wanted to translate the whole document, I can turn this toggle on and it will then translate the whole document from English into Welsh for you. Okay. Now this is going to be handy for a number of learners in your class, not only Welsh, but I'm thinking in terms of different languages of children that may come into your classroom. So as an example, you may have a Polish child who joins your class who can read fluently in Polish, but English is really poor. They can access this text exactly the same as the rest of the classroom. So again, you can turn the translate option on, change it to the language you want, change the document, and then that will then change the whole document into that home language for that child. So therefore, every child in your class should be able to access text whether they can read English fluently or their home language fluently as well. So for me, this is a really, really powerful tool in terms of being able to provide that access to everybody. What you can also see across the top then is you can toggle them between the original and the Polish, okay, or the original and the language that you translate to. So again, it's good for you to be able to jump back and forth and make those cross connections between the two languages there. I'm just going to turn translate off for now. And then I'm going to have a look at some of the other features. So they are the main features that are available in reading preferences. I'm going to show you in a second what the reading coach can do as well. This is a new feature that's been recently announced by Microsoft as part of a range of learning accelerators. I'm going to come back and show you what reading coach can do in a second. Okay, this time now I'm going to go across the text size and text preferences. Now this is really important for learners potentially with dyslexia, that actually what we can now do is we can edit the text size or edit the colors within the text to be able to make it accessible to each of those learners. So as you can see here, first of all, I've got I can make the text smaller, bigger. Okay, so again, if children are visually impaired, they need the text slightly bigger for them. You can make it as big as you need it to so that they can focus in on the content that they're being asked to focus on. What you can also do is you can increase the spacing between the letters, again, making the readability a lot clearer. So I think it's turned on automatically when you go into Immersive Reader, but you can see the difference when I turn that off, that it almost goes back to the text that it was like on just the plain Word document, okay? So you can see there, by turning that increased spacing on, again, it just makes the text a little bit easier for those learners to access. You've also then got a range of fonts underneath, okay? So you can change the fonts depending on which one you find is easier for that child or learner to read. And you've also then got a number of themes underneath, okay? So they say that it's easier in terms of dyslexia for learners to have a light background with dark text on top. I can then do that by changing the color of the text in the background, okay? So again, this tool is free. If you were to get an overlay for something like this, it would cost you money. If you use it on the screen like this, you've got a free tool there to be able to support you and all the learners in your classrooms. You can see by playing around with the themes, a range of options. You've also then got more colors by opening that and scrolling that down as well. So have a little play around with those, see what's available, and that helps you then in terms of the text preferences. Okay, so far we've had a look at text preferences and we've had a look at reading preferences. I'm going to go now into the grammar options in the center. Now the grammar options are really, really helpful. Okay, as you can see here, I've got a number of toggles that I can turn on and off to help learners identify different parts of speech and also syllables within words. So first of all, just showing you the syllables one, if I turn that toggle on, what you can then see is that some of the words have then been broken down into syllables. So this will help learners with decoding in terms of their phonics and be able to break the words down when they're trying to read them. So they can see that physical there is broken down into phys-ical, helps them then with their fluency, with their reading. You can toggle that on and off, and you can see then the difference when I toggle that on and I toggle that off. Now, one of my favorite parts of the Immersive Reader, particularly when you're trying to unpick a text with learners, is being able to identify different parts of speech or different parts of the text. So for example here, I've got nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. If I toggle on the nouns option, what will then happen is all of the words that are nouns within the text will be highlighted in purple. So if you're looking for learners to retrieve nouns from a specific text, you can use this tool to be able to help them identify them. Perhaps what you could do beforehand is get them to make a list of all the nouns, and then they can self-check them by turning the toggle on and seeing which ones appear. Again, I can do that with verbs. So I can have all the verbs then highlighted in red, adjectives highlighted in green, and then also adverbs highlighted in yellow. Okay, so you can see as you go through then, with them all on, they can almost break down a sentence and see what is available to them as they go through. What you can also do then is turn on the labels. So above each one, it'll be given a sort of an initial to be able to help the learners identify which word is which without having this on. So I can turn that on, close that, and they'll be able to see that as well. So another really cool feature in being able to sort of unpick a text and identify all the different features within a text itself as well. So they are the three main tools available in Immersive Reader. Really, really helpful in terms of being able for learners to be able to access the different types of text and also to be able to see different features. And again, like I said, for everybody within the classroom to be able to have that access. Does anyone have any questions at this point around what we've shown so far? And if we don't, I'm happy then to continue and to carry on. Okay. Okay, so I did say I was going to show you the Reading Coach. Now, Reading Coach is really, really clever. For those of you who have or have not seen Reading Progress in Microsoft Teams, Reading Coach is built into Reading Progress, and it helps learners then to develop fluency with their reading. Now, if I turn Reading Coach on, what I can then do, you can see at the bottom, is the toggle from the play has toggled to a microphone. So I just turn that off. You can see it's currently a play button. If I turn that on, it then turns into a microphone. And what I can do now is I can practice reading this text. And what the Reading Coach will do is it will pick up a number of different things that it will be able to support the reader with fluency, vocabulary, and so on. So let's have a little practice of what that looks like. So by pressing the record button, the first time you use that, you may get a drop down, which asks you to allow or deny access to the microphone. If we allow that access, learners can then use Immersive Reader and the Reading Coach to practice their reading. So let's give it a go. So when you click it on the first time, you can read aloud for up to 10 minutes. So if there's a long piece of text, they can read for a long period of time. And at any point, they can press stop to get feedback and practice their reading as they go through. So when you click on start reading, it'll give you a little countdown and then you can read away. The study of Earth's landforms is called physical geography. Landforms can be mountains and valleys. They can also be glaciers or rivers. Landforms are sometimes called physical features. It is important for students to know about the physical geography of Earth, the seasons, the atmosphere, and all the natural processes of Earth affect where people are able to live. Geography is one of a combination of factors that people use to decide where they want to live. Now, obviously, as I was reading through there, I was making some deliberate mistakes, because what that will do is the Reading Coach will pick up some of those mistakes and it will then identify some of the words that the children need to practice on. So instantly, this gives you some instant feedback on the learning of the reader and the fluency of the reader. So you can see here that I spent 37 seconds reading that text. I had a 96% accuracy, so my reading was pretty good. And I was also reading then 121 correct words per minute. What it has identified is that I've got 5 words that I need to practice. Okay, and now hopefully some of the words that I stumbled over, the 5 words that it's identified, it may have identified others depending on certain particular things. So underneath then you can see I've got the green practice words option, and that's asking me to open Reading Coach. So as I open up practice words.
Next step, practice. Select any word to keep building your skills.
So Reading Coach then will identify 5 words that potentially that you had difficulty with. And when you click onto one of those words, so I'm going to go for combination. If I click onto there.
When you're ready, press the microphone and read the word out loud.
What I can then do is I can see that word in isolation. I don't see it then with the rest of the text. I can listen to that word.
Combination.
As many times as I want.
Combination.
Or I can then segment that word into syllables, combination, to help me read it.
Combination.
And then when I'm confident and I've practiced my reading, I can then have a go at reading it by recording my voice. So I've got that green button there. Combination.
You're making your brain stronger. Nice work.
So as you can see, nice instant feedback for the learners as well. And then they get the little green star then to say that they've achieved that word. I can go back then and do the others. Again, I can break it down. Able.
South close. Let's read the word again. Able.
Able. Now, sometimes it's not going to pick it up perfectly. Obviously, I'm saying the word able, which is what it's asking me to do. But this is in beta kind of mode, so there's going to be a few little glitches as you go through. So again, we try people. People. So if I go back to the home button now, by here, What I've then got then is a sort of a preview of all the things that I've done. So let's just do the other two as well. No. Again, you can see on this one as well, actually, that there's a picture option to help them as well. Study. So then you can see then I can go through those words. It'll give me instant feedback. And then when I'm done, I can click on the I'm done button. So they get a bit of practice in terms of their reading, as well as using Immersive Reader to help them access the reading as well. So for me, that reading coach tool is really, really clever. And again, it's built into Reading Progress, which is also in Teams. And if anyone wants any further information on Reading Progress or would like me to run a session with you on that, please do get in contact, because it's a really, really powerful tool in terms of developing your fluency with your readers as well. So something to have a little look at. So that is the tools within Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader, again, really, really powerful in terms of what it can offer. Some of the other tools then in terms of where Immersive Reader is available. We've also got Immersive Reader in OneNote. So if you use OneNote in your school, you can see if you go to the View option, okay, you've got the option to go into Immersive Reader there, and it looks exactly the same. You've also then got it in PowerPoint. Okay, so I put it into PowerPoint, this text. If I go across to View, I've got Immersive Reader there. So you can see that it's built into a number of programs. Again, all readily available and all free for you to use on Hub. So Immersive Reader, really, really powerful in terms of what's available to you as a teacher, and something that everybody in your class can access. Now, another tool that learners can use that's built into the Microsoft Edge browser. So if you're using laptops or desktops that run Windows and have Microsoft, in the Microsoft Edge browser, the ability to have a web page read out to you is also there too. So if you scroll down, you find the text that you want the learner to read. You can right click on the text, and then about halfway down then you can see Read Aloud. So if I press Read Aloud there, that'll be read to me.
Pace bowler James Anderson says England have to deal with the challenge of Cyclone Gabrielle during the build-up to the first test.
And what I can do then across the top is I can press play, and I can skip them between paragraphs if I want to go forward. Also then on the right hand side, you've got the voice options. And again, I can speed that up, but I can also then change the style of reading as well. So you can see there's a number of options in terms of English from the United Kingdom, but again, it can be read in different languages from around the world. I can also open this text in Immersive Reader. So again, I can right click on there. I can see Immersive Reader there. So when I click on that, instantly then that text page is brought straight across into Immersive Reader. I can use the Read Aloud function, like we just had a look at. I can also then play with the text preferences, so I can make the text bigger and smaller. I can add text spacing. I can change the font, the column style, and the page themes as well, depending on what I need. I can use those grammar tools that we identified earlier on. So when I scroll down, you start to see then those words begin to get highlighted. And again, they can have the labels. And I've also then got the reading preferences too. So I can have the line focus, and I can have the picture dictionary as well. So I can click on cyclone there and I can see the wind. I can click on cancelled. Again, not all images are perfect in terms of what you're looking for. So I can just play around with those features within Microsoft Edge as well. So it's widely available to everybody, not only in some of those Microsoft tools, but also then in the Microsoft Edge browser. If you're a school that uses Chromebooks, I'm not sure, and I'd have to double check this one. You might be able to have Edge pushed out to your Chromebook, so you can use the Edge browser through there as well. But again, another place that you can use this tool to provide accessible features for everybody within your classroom. So that was Immersive Reader. We had a little look then at what its use. But I just wanted to share this video here with you in terms of some successes, that children have had using Immersive Reader. So I think you can see there, just from that last quote, empowering us all. And it's just a very short clip there that gets you to see from the student's perspective how powerful and how important immersive reader has been to them in the classroom. They're saying that if I can't read, I'm going to be left out. This tool allows all readers in your classroom to be able to access the text the same as anyone else. So I really, really advocate sort of going and having a look at this and seeing how you can incorporate it into the teaching and learning within your classroom. And again, this is a quote from an educator in Argentina. She said, "I wanted to let you know today that that a mum spoke to me and she started crying. Her son was finally able to read on his own thanks to Immersive Reader. I'm currently changing the lives of so many children." So how powerful is that? And that's why we need to kind of share this tool with everyone, because tools like Immersive Reader are all about giving students access and helping them get over some of the barriers that they may encounter with regards to reading in your classroom. So please, please do almost shout this from the rooftops, get it out there, show them the other staff in your school how powerful, in my opinion, this tool really, really is. And learning tools, and hopefully, this is quite small, but hopefully you can see this. So learning tools are available across a wide variety of applications. And you can see that almost in this like periodic table of tools and things that are available. It might even be in some places that might surprise you. So this chart shows you all the different applications and features across Microsoft products that, again, are all available to you through the Hub platform. And it shows you where Immersive Reader and some of those related technologies exist. On the left-hand side, you can see the specific learning tools. So you've got Read Aloud, spacing and font size, page colors, syllables, line focus, parts of speech, translation, picture dictionary, dictation, and maths and equations. Okay, and then so far across that line, then you can see beside it every single Microsoft application that learning tool sits within. So for example, the Read Aloud tool is in OneNote Desktop, OneNote Online, the OneNote app, OneNote on the iPads, OneNote on Mac, all the different Word applications. We see within Outlook, it's within Teams, it's on Microsoft Flip, it's on Office Lens, and it's on the Edge browser. So again, a wide variety of tools, not just on those ones that we've just looked at today. Again, it's across all of them. That list is always growing, and there's always access to this flyer if you're running your own sessions in school. You'd like to share it by clicking on that link at the bottom. It should take you through to that flyer, so you can see where all those tools sit in relation to one another. So what other applications feature Immersive Reader? Let's check out some of the other products that you might have available to you in your school, again, through the Hub platform, free to use for everybody within your school. It might surprise you, but in Minecraft Education, Immersive Reader is available. Okay, Minecraft for Education, as we know, is an amazing tool. It's being used by educators across Wales and across the region. What they realised, though, is that some of the text inside of Minecraft, like on these billboards and signs, and the dialogues can be quite hard for some people to access. So the Immersive Reader is now able to pick up that text and give students all the tools they need within their Minecraft world. So even if you've got learners accessing your literacy through Minecraft, if you see there on that image on the right-hand side, you've got that little Immersive Reader button. So it's like a little book with a microphone on the right-hand side. And when you click on that, then Immersive Reader will open, and the text then will be available to those learners ready for them to read. And what you can also see as you go through is the picture dictionary also picks up Minecraft text as well. So for example, a creeper or a mushroom or a nether, things that we might not even be aware of exist, the Microsoft Picture Dictionary will be able to pick that up for the learners, and they'll be able to make that relationship between the picture and between the text they're reading as well. So even in Minecraft, it's really, really powerful. Another place where we might not even realize it exists is in Microsoft Forms. Okay, and because this is quite exciting, thinking about our formative and summative assessment being more inclusive to all of our learners. We're doing reading comprehension quizzes, short content check quizzes. They'll all now be accessible to all students by being able to launch the Immersive Reader to access that text. So again, you might not be able to see it quite clearly, but here next to sort of the title of that form, there's a little Immersive Reader button. You can click onto that button and you get all the amazing features of Forms, plus then all the Immersive Reader features as well to make that content accessible for all of your students. Okay, so again, Microsoft Forms, another really, really great tool that's available to us for free through Hub. And again, Immersive Reader is accessible. Finally then, the last place where Immersive Reader is also available is within Microsoft Flip. formerly Flipgrid, for those of you who haven't used it for a while. So Flipgrid rebranded to Microsoft Flip. That tool is also now available within Flip as well. So if you're setting up an assignment or a grid task for your learners where they're going to be responding with a video and they're going to be presenting any thoughts, feelings, or anything that you've asked them to, they can then access the text within those introductions, within those instructions that you're giving the learners, again by using the Immersive Reader tool just there on the right hand side. So you can see that this tool permeates through a range of things that you've got available to you for free within the Hub platform. So hopefully through everything that I've shared tonight, you've seen the power of Immersive Reader and how now that can be used with every learner within your classroom. It doesn't have to be a child with additional learning needs. It could be any child within your classroom. And what I'd like you to consider now is just to take 2 minutes before we wrap up tonight's session is what will be your commitment to act from tonight's session? What are you going to do with this information that you've been given tonight? And could you just pop in the chat something that you're going to commit to doing with this information from tonight's session? So I'll give you just 2 minutes to consider that and to pop that in the chat for me, please. Excellent, fantastic, great commitment to act there. So share it with others, look at an Immersive Reader and the Reading Coach, get people signposted to it within Minecraft and Flipgrid as well, in particular, specifically if you're using that as a tool within your school, please do share it. It's like I said, for me, Immersive Reader can be really life-changing within a classroom, so it's really, really important that we make sure as many of you are aware of it as well. Perfect, so we're going to act on that straight away. So use Immersive Reading and a research activity for Wednesday. All children have the same access, that's great. Staff meeting this week, brilliant, thank you very much. Get that message out there as soon as possible. And also as well then, this video will be accessible through this team space. So if you want to share this then with your staff so they've got access, get them to access the team and they can really have a look at what's available. So yeah, we've got share meetings, share with others, fantastic. Implement the use of Immersive Reader during literacy focused tasks, great. Share with teachers and other year groups to see how successful it is. Use the Reading Coach as an AFL tool, absolutely, yes, some really, really good stuff. And in terms of that Reading Coach, if you want any further information on reading progress, which is in Teams, which has got Reading Coach built into it as well, and gives you some really good long-term insights, please do get in touch as well. So just before you finish tonight, guys, I know there's only a couple of you, but I'd be really, really appreciative if you could just spend 3 minutes of your time completing the evaluation form for this session. You can see the course code is there. It's 512-2223. The session title is Digitally Inclusive Classroom Session 2, and the success criteria there. So if you could just spend a couple minutes of your time completing that evaluation for me, please, I'd be really, really grateful. For those of you who are watching this retrospectively and are watching the recording as well, if you could fill that in too, that'd be really, really grateful. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you for those of you who have joined the session tonight or have joined us asynchronously following tonight's session. For any further information, please do get in touch with me. My details were at the start of the video for you to get in contact. So thank you very much for everyone for joining. I hope you found that useful and I hope that you'll be able to use Immersive Reader in your classroom as a really powerful tool to support all of your learners. Diolch.